At least there's no moon, so there's no werewolves.
Thank God. Yeah, and
God. The only thing that could make this worse is if there was a werewolf on board.
Yeah. Okay.
The captain's like, oh wait, I can stop it, and then the moon shines in.
He turns into
and you're like, wait, Captain, look at me, and he goes, and he bursts out of his. I
have a little bit of a hangover today.
A full seat on the Titanic lifeboat is being taken up by just a mummy that she brought. She brought a mummy, and she's like, anyways, we should probably look for survivors. And this guy's fucked up. Not me. Don't look at me and my mummy.
Don't look the mummy in the eyes.
Don't look the mummy in the eyes.
Or you'll be cursed.
Don't touch its amulet. You don't want to know what happens when you touch the mummy's amulet.
This is a White Star Line prepaid call from
Iceberg, right ahead!
It's been over 100 years since the Titanic sunk into the North Atlantic Ocean.
It's a pretty open and shut case. The ship hit an iceberg, case closed.
But what aren't they telling us? What if two comedians tried to solve what really happened?
This is Truthtanic.
Ahoy!
Ahoy! Ahoy!
It's like I'm really there.
Welcome to Truthtanic,
the comedy podcast where we aim to uncover what really happened the night the Titanic sunk into the ocean.
To the North Atlantic.
Did it sink? What? Maybe they're not telling us something. Maybe it's all a government conspiracy. Maybe it's a cover-up. Maybe the Titanic is in Area 51.
And they think that we're not going to figure it out. Well, the joke's on them because we are.
We're on the case. And if we disappear, you know it's the FBI.
And my name is Blair.
And my name is Carley. Today we're covering
the night of the sinking.
Like the main event from what happened before the iceberg made impact with the Titanic, why it happened, was there any warnings, what were the crew doing, to getting people onto the lifeboat.
To the officer who goes, iceberg straight ahead.
The officer is a newsie.
Yes.
He's a newsie.
And you
don't need money when you're famous.
He gives you whatever you want gratis. Such as
an iceberg straight ahead.
An iceberg straight ahead. Potatoes from the potato room.
Yes. We'll talk, of course, about potatoes from the potato room.
Potatoes, because you can't go an episode without that.
About some people who survived by getting into the lifeboats.
Yes.
What the ship looked like when it sank. How many people survived, what the vibe was like on the ship.
Yeah, what the crew was doing.
And I think what we're really aiming to gain from this, if you recall, there's that episode of Serial where they get in a car and they reenact the actual timeline to see if Adnan could have killed Hay. Like they get in the car and they're like, because there's like an X amount of time he's unaccounted for. Could he have driven to this place and killed her or whatever? Yeah. We're going to see if the timeline of the Titanic sinking
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Because if it doesn't, then there's something suspicious.
Then the game is afoot.
And to be fair, I have a little bit of a hangover today.
I think that's a good energy to bring to a podcast.
It's good energy. And I also just feel like reading this timeline is going to make me cry.
That's good though. Because that's funny.
It's funny. It's funny how much this ship emotionally affects me.
I love that though. Whenever I'm listening to a podcast and the hosts are like, oh, we had a crazy night last night, or I'm hungover, I'm like, I really like that because then it feels like I'm having like a hungover brunch. I think a hangover in general makes you more emotionally vulnerable.
Yes.
I think it gives you less of a filter. I think it'll be a good energy to bring.
And I do feel like this is what you get when you go to brunch with me, is me just talking at you.
About the Titanic.
About usually the Titanic.
Yeah.
Sometimes something else, but mostly the Titanic.
Yeah. It'll be good to be sad about this. I always feel that when I watch the James Cameron movie, I'm like, oh, this was sad.
No, it's sad. This is your daily reminder in our podcast. The Titanic was actually really sad.
It was actually really sad.
I know people tell you that it was actually sad, but it was actually sad.
It was actually a tragedy.
It was actually a tragedy.
It's not funny.
It's actually not funny.
So stop laughing about it.
It's actually weird. I know we're laughing about it, but you shouldn't be.
Yeah, but we're the professionals.
We're the professional laughers. we're the people who make funny.
I would be such a bad audience member at like a sitcom. I am not a generous laugher in any way. I'd be sitting front row, arms crossed, waiting to be. I only laugh when I'm surprised, generally, which means like it can be like a joke that's random, but it doesn't mean I even laugh at good jokes. Like I'll just be like, if something's really clever, I'll be like, very clever. It's really funny.
I can be a generous laugher, but like
It's a good quality.
I can turn it off if I don't feel like it, or if I'm mad. Like if you've done something to piss me off, I'm not laughing.
I'm a very biased person.
And I also like, do you ever just like laugh at something that no one else laughs at and you're like, oh, something's wrong with me?
You're like, what happened?
Yeah, like I'll like often laugh at things that I find just like very similar to you. Like where I'm just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And so then I'll sometimes end up laughing at like something like a mistake that someone makes that they clearly didn't want you to see. And I'm like, ha ha.
People falling.
Like, pointing.
Like human beings falling.
Oh, it's the funniest thing ever.
It's so funny. I saw an old woman fall. On the subway. And she's fine. She's fine. I just want to say, everybody, assumedly, this was 3 years ago. So who knows what happened since. But
she could have gotten COVID.
Exactly. But at that moment in time, she was okay.
Okay.
And it was like, that was a moment where I was like, what is wrong with me? Like she fell. And I was like, wasn't like visibly laughing, which is good. But I thought it was so funny. I was like, I had to like turn away. I had to like turn away from the laughter. And people like helped her up. And I was like, I'm a psychopath. Like, check if she's okay. Or one time I saw a person walking across the street and they didn't like judge the curb. So they just kind of kicked the curb and fell. And again, it's like, check to see if they're okay. But I was like,
One time I was sitting at Found Coffee on Shaw. Okay, a weird coffee shop. No offense, Found fans.
Any coffee shop on Shaw is very weird. But that's why we like it.
It's just, I don't like espresso too. So whenever someone's like, go to this espresso place, I'm like, I already don't want to be there because I just want like a terrible drip coffee. Yeah. But I was sitting there like on the patio with two friends and this like 14-year-old girl walks by and she's carrying like a Dixie cup that you use to like put mouthwash in at the dentist. She's looking real fucking bad and she stops directly in front of where we're sitting and just projectile vomits for like a full 15 seconds, like but like trying to get it into the Dixie cup.
That is so
vomiting, and I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And then just continues like walking right over the vomit, and we're sitting there like, oh my God, this is also like a 14. She was wearing a backpack. Like she's like clearly had been like sent home from school because she was vomiting.
So
it was so funny. And I was like, I should be making sure this child is okay, but instead I'm just hooting and hollering.
I know. That makes me laugh. Bodily functions makes me laugh. I'm a deeply disturbed individual. Like, I never laugh at a setup and punchline because I'm not like other girls.
And I actually don't even think jokes are funny.
But it's just like, I know too much.
Yeah. No, like we were at a stand-up show the other day and we were talking about this where it's just like, it's very hard when like people are expecting you to laugh. And if you don't, then they're gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
when
feel
you're the like,
I often lose laughter because I speak through the laughter.
Oh yeah.
Because I hate so much when somebody says a joke and pauses for laughter.
Yeah.
And it's not coming.
I think like my biggest stand-up flaw currently is the fact that I will just forget what I'm talking about, but I won't like panic, but I just like will stop talking and kind of like my eyes will glaze over. And then people will kind of laugh because they're like, I'm making everyone uncomfortable. So it's like, and then I'm like, oh, I'm killing it. And then I'm like, oh, this is not like a sustainable habit. But
it might be,
you know, we'll see. Maybe it's just my vibe. It's basically what Bo Burnham does.
No,
John Mulaney.
That's John Mulaney.
Those guys I get compared to. So yeah, the sinking is sad. Don't forget it. We're
gonna walk you through the timeline.
Walking through the timeline, and to be fair, honestly, doing this research, a lot of it is suspicious. Yeah, basically. Not every hour, but mostly hour by hour of the day.
Sometimes there wasn't stuff that was happening.
Sometimes it was just boring, and that's okay.
And if you want to kind of really feel like you're there, I recently found a ASMR ambiance room that is the Titanic.
And it's incredible.
It's amazing. I got really into their basic ASMR ambiance rooms are basically YouTube videos where they create like a soundscape and it sounds like you're in a room and it's just like kind of like background noise. So you don't have to, you know, be alone with your thoughts. And I was like, I wonder if there's a Titanic one because there's a lot that they're almost always in like the olden days.
Yes.
Like every single one is like, it's the 1940s.
Yes.
Oldies are playing from the other room. Every gay person is in jail. Like it's very much reliant on the fact, on like the nostalgia of the past.
It's the past.
Exactly.
And it's also, it's
1910.
funny
You're
how
on
we're
the front
like,
porch. Women cannot whoa.
When we get out. And they're going to hang you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so funny how much we use technology to make it feel like it's the 50s.
Yeah.
It's a fun little phenomenon.
It's like, babe, put your phone away.
So we suggest putting on the Titanic ASMR video in the background.
It's like it's something kind of like you're on the first class.
Yes,
like
the promenade.
The promenade.
The promenade.
And my favorite, I have a screenshot of it. And it's just a comment that's like, wow, as long as we avoid the iceberg, I'm calm. And you're like, babe, you're on the Titanic. We know how this ends.
Which is also so funny because you could have done just like any other boat. Like,
also, stop commenting on ASMR YouTube videos.
Man, comment sections are actually like
my
incredible.
favorite comment section, because I've been on a Neil Young kind of
incredible
phase recently. Because it's watching him play guitar is insane. He's crazy. Yeah. But every single Neil Young video, here's my impression of the comments. Wow, this reminds me of being 17. I'm a 70-year-old man myself now.
I'm old,
but
man,
it all takes me back. Like, it's every person. It's like they say the age they were. Yeah. They say the age they are now. And they're like, they don't make them like this anymore. Yeah. Keep rocking on, Neil. And you're like, he didn't post this.
Yeah. He didn't make this video.
Neil Young is not
This was made by like some 14-year-old super fan. That
and I'm growing old.
No, my favorite comment section, do you know the band, the Dropkick Murphys?
Okay.
So they're this like Celtic punk band. They're incredible. They do that, ship it up to Boston. Wow.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah.
It's like St. Patrick's Day music. But I love them. And all the comments are just like, oh, I was about to go to bed, but the song made me crack a fucking beer. It's like, oh, I was going to hug my wife, but instead I broke glass. It's so funny. Like, everyone's just in on this same bit. It's fantastic. Because it's music to just
do
like
that.
chug whiskey too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And with that, we take you to
the Titanic.
The sinking.
And no spoiler alert. It's no spoilers. Who's to say if it sinks?
It might not.
You'll find out. No
it
spoilers.
Might not. Set the scene. April 14th, 1912.
13 days after some legendary April 1st pranks.
Yeah, they got pranked hard.
Yeah, the biggest prank is a long game.
Yes.
And that's your ship slamming into an iceberg. Your unsinkable ship. Sinking.
Sinking.
You got pranked.
You
Sam Pepper found dead in a ditch.
Hard. Yeah, dude. They're also like, there's going to be a war. And then they're like, nope, actually, it's going to be in 2 years.
The Great War.
The Great War. Yeah, they didn't call it World War I. They called it the Great War.
Yeah.
It was only when they had to start numbering the wars.
I mean, it would be insane to call it World War I.
Yeah, like they're anticipating a sequel.
A second war. We'll say one for now.
Yeah. But I feel like we could all go back and do this again.
It seems like we could do it again.
I actually feel like we actually all had a good time.
Not to defend nuclear warfare.
Mm-hmm.
She did stop World War III. Yeah. Everybody's too afraid of mutual destruction.
Yeah.
To do another war.
It's true. We got too powerful and it's too much and we're all scared. I'm scared. I'm scared every day.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm letting go of negative feelings. I refuse to feel them.
Okay. I just can't watch Oppenheimer a second time and I'll be fine.
I haven't seen it one time. I know it's the exact kind of thing that'll make me feel awful. I wrote an article about it, and that's enough.
So,
the Titanic is in the water.
The Titanic is in the water. We're sailing. Everything's going well. Everyone's having an amazing time. The sailors are gay.
They're singing. Yeah, they're singing.
They're singing
for all the ladies. Heave away, the ladies away. And if we do return to you, we'll make your cradles rock. Heave away. Or the standby song. Oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Cherbourg now. You don't know that one?
Oh yeah, no, I do know that one. I just don't know the words.
A letter of marque came from the king. It's a great
My favorite
song.
St. Rogers is, oh, for just one time.
So that's kind of the song. That's kind of the song.
They're all singing.
That song is so good.
That song gets me, dude. That song gets me.
That song, obviously the same thing.
Northwest Passage.
If I listen to Danny Boy.
Oh, yeah.
I am no longer a 24-year-old Canadian woman. I am a 75-year-old Irish man who has seen, I'm at the funeral of something. The pipes are calling. I told Reese the other day, I was like, at my funeral, you have to sing Danny Boy a cappella. He's like, I have to sing at your fucking funeral?
That was a good Reese impression.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like, he's here.
Truly, I do think that there's like an old man it just lives inside of me who like if
your past lives.
Yeah, I've been like collecting because I grew up with my mother like habitually referencing like her past life as a Jamaican woman.
No. We have to go past that.
Yeah.
We simply can't dig into that or
take that out.
No, don't take it out. But we have to go past that or we'll be here all day.
Oh, for sure. But now I'm like starting to do it where I'm just like, oh yeah, back when my Scottish sons went out and died in the Highland Wars.
I've recently very much become the kind of white woman who reads books about Wicca, and that's my journey. And that's what I'm going to become.
That's also very you. Like we've been talking about joining a coven. Which they just approved my, by the way, I meant to tell you, they just approved, I'm trying to get into Wiccan Facebook groups, but they really vet you. So I've been like, finally, I was waiting for like a week.
Oh my God.
And they finally let me in. And obviously it's chaos.
There's like an occult store right by my house, and I went the other day to just like suss it out.
Is it the one on Harvard? No,
that one's good too. This is, I mean, I can't really say where it is because people will
you're gonna
come to my
dox
home.
Yourself.
But I went in and it, obviously it's chaos. Like there's a woman who's shopping there who's just talking loudly about being abused. Like, and I'm trying to buy like a candle and a crystal, and she's like, I was actually very much taken advantage of. And I was like, I don't know who you are. Like, I don't, and it's also like the kind of person, and I'm not blaming her. Like, I think this obviously very much happened, but there's kinds of people that are like, I've been abused, and you're like, your energy, you absolutely have.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
people have the energy of somebody who's been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm an aura reader, but there's just people who are like, something has happened to you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And she was saying, so I was like, checking out, this woman doesn't work at the store. It's important to note this.
She's just there.
And she goes, great picks. And I'm like, thanks. And she's like, do you work with any deities or deities? And I was like, no, I'm just learning about this. And she goes, I usually work with Aphrodite, but the other day Persephone came and asked to work with me. And then the woman who was working at the cash went, oh no. Because I guess they don't get along.
Yeah,
and I was like, I love women so much. I'm so happy that this is my fantasy football.
Yeah.
Like, I would die for both of these women.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
Yeah. No, I love shit like that. Like, honestly, especially because, like, I feel like if you're into any type of, like, spirituality or, like, paganism or anything like that, like, you just, like, learn to respect other speeds. So it's like, I've never done, like, deity work and stuff, but one of my good friends does. And he'll explain it to me, and I'm like, this just isn't clicking, but you're going to listen to me talk about predictive astrology later.
Exactly.
So
it's part of it. A relationship is almost always you kind of waiting for your chance to talk about a thing the other person doesn't care about. Like, the amount that I know about the NBA is quite frankly disgusting. But like, Reese helped me bring little sticks in the house to make a pentagram. And he was like, is this gonna like open a portal? And I was like, no, it's just kind of like, it's like the cross.
Just so I can light my candle.
And he did it anyway, even thinking that a portal may be open in the house.
Yeah.
And that's support.
He's just having a good time. So on that note, timeline. So 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. April 14th, 1912, Eastern Standard Time.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd.
Titanic is rent. So the Titanic, 9 a.m. The Titanic receives warning about ice in the area. So they're at this point sailing off the coast of Newfoundland. So they're kind of getting close to Canada, whatever. They're hanging out. So they receive, it was like the message was kind of funny. I've written about it because they were like, there are bergs afoot. It was something really funny like that. So they receive a message being like, there's ice in the area.
There's bergs afoot.
There's bergs afoot.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's April off the coast of Newfoundland.
It's cold.
That's going to happen,
This was pre-global warming. Well, I guess it was already happening, but not as intensely. And then throughout that day, they actually receive 5 more ice warnings, and they do deliver the message to the bridge, which is like the lookout, the crow's nest.
Where all the twinks are getting railed.
As we know from last episode. So they're told to stop railing each other and keep a lookout for the iceberg. Very sternly.
Yes.
So
I also want to say, when I'm kind of picturing this lookout portion in my mind, I was recently watching a documentary about Laurel Canyon that Bob Dylan's son did. And he talks to Scientologist Beck. Because Beck is a Scientologist.
Bummer.
Yeah. But I was watching with my boyfriend Reese, who's a straight man, and I kind of had to introduce him recently to the concept of like twinks and bears and otters, because it's just in my vernacular so much that he needs to kind of understand what that means. And he went, Beck's kind of a twink. Yeah. And I was like, Beck is a twink. So when you're kind of imagining the lookout nest of the Titanic, let's say 12 Becks having sex with each other.
12 Becks? Well, there were two. There were two people in
Becks sexing.
12 Becks are fucking.
So they deliver this warning. It's like, look out for ice,
So they're
babes.
like, check it out. There's ice.
Eyes open. Keep your eyes open.
They apparently put the ice warning on a little piece of paper and stick it on the notice board for everyone to see. So at this point, they're not.
It's like next to like invitations, like the Bridge Club.
Truly, like it's on the thing that says like dinner tonight. Also ice.
It's fish stick night.
There's icebergs.
It's potato night. Let's be real.
It's always potato.
It's always potato night on the Titanic. Can I have one potato martini, please?
Potato martini. Don't kill me. Do you ever have someone describe you like a cocktail that sounds awful? Because someone did that to me yesterday, where they were like, you have to go to this restaurant and try this banana drink they make. And I was like, no. I like simply like, no. I don't. That sounds actually bad. I'm super happy they were able to.
That's how I feel about, honestly, espresso martinis. I'm not there with that. Yeah. Because I had an espresso martini once. Espresso martini, I guess is how you say it. Yeah. I had it once, and then my parents called me, and my childhood dog died. So
yeah.
And then I had to go to the vet with his dead corpse, like strung out of my mind on caffeine and drunk. And he's dead as fuck. He died before he went. Oh, he died. That's too bad. And my parents were like, hey, to my sister, because she was living at home at the time, like, don't you want to come say goodbye to Max? And she went, hey, Max. And then he came back to life and died in her arms.
Oh my God.
He was like, and died.
Holy shit, dude. That's why you shouldn't mix coffee and vodka.
You know what? It's better to burn out than fade away.
Yeah.
So they just put
with a bang, but with a whimper.
What is the purpose of putting just a notice on the board?
So I think this was like standard practice. Like I think
just so you're aware of the fact that ice is
was like common
Bergs
at
are
this time. And so this is the interesting thing. So this next point. So this is like around like 11 p.m. 11 p.m. is really where shit starts going down. So you have to contextualize it. Like most passengers on the Titanic at this point are like, they're snug as a rug and a bug in bed.
A rug and a bug?
A rug and a bug.
A bug?
A bug and a rug?
Yeah, okay. Of course. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 11 p.m. Do you know where your children are? No. So most people are like, the Titanic's winding down. So most of the stuff starts happening at like 11 a.m.
Do we know what day of the week this is?
That's an incredible question.
I'll Google it.
I feel like it was like a Wednesday.
What day of the week did the Titanic sink? Ugh, God, I hate Mondays.
Oh, it's a Monday. Wait, was the 14th a Monday?
Oh, it might be the 15th. So it might be a Sunday night. Yeah, you're right.
14th is a Monday?
Yes. 14th, okay, so the 14th is a Sunday.
14th is, so it would have been Monday morning.
So a Sunday night, you're asleep.
Mondays.
You're asleep. You're asleep.
You're snug as a bug and a bug. So
you're not even aware that bergs are afoot.
No, you don't care about bergs being afoot. And also, like, I think that, like, the more I research, I'm like, this just wasn't, like, the monumental problem that, like, we now know it was. So this is
because the Titanic hadn't happened yet. Like,
yes, exactly. A lot of things, doing this podcast is so funny because it's like, you have to just remind yourself, it's like, this event that we're studying has not yet happened.
Yeah, so like people are like, oh no, icebergs, the Titanic's gonna sink. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm on the Titanic and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So 11 p.m. is when shit's really starts going down. Yes. So they start to get, so the radio operator, Jack Phillips, which the internet loves because he was a cutie. He was a cutie patootie.
He was sexy?
Yes.
Is he like Tim Hortons sexy?
Tim Hortons sexy.
Have you seen pictures of Tim Hortons?
Yeah, Tim Hortons cute. Tim Hortons cute. I won't deny it. No, he's like a cutie, like he's cutie.
He's like Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Like, what does he look like? Give me a celebrity like equivalent.
I don't know. Sure, Andrew Garfield.
No, I'm asking you to do it. If he looks like Andrew Garfield, then he looks like Andrew Garfield, but I need to know. I think the people at home want to know kind of like what celebrity we're fan casting in the role.
Okay. I'm gonna say like Tom Holland.
Yes. No, he's Tom, guys. He's Tom Holland.
Kind of giving Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's a cutie pie. He's pretty.
I mean, let's be clear. Blair is showing me a faded black and white photo of an old, like, it's a guy. You know when you look at a picture of somebody from the past and you're like, no one's face looks like that now.
And he was like 25, so he was a young buck.
Yeah.
You know?
He was ready to spread his seed.
Yeah. He was ready to spread his seed all over the world.
Yeah, his balls were busting.
His balls were busting all over the Titanic radio operating room.
Yeah.
So he starts to get a sixth warning. And he so it's from the nearby ship called the Californian love. California, here we come. Right back where we started from. It's a musical episode, actually. I know.
Yeah. We just want to sing.
We just have to sing. So this is apparently, can you verify these things? I don't know. But this is what the internet told me. The sixth ice warning from the Californian was sent. Say, old man, we are stopped and surrounded by ice. And then Jack Phillips responds with, shut up, I am busy, I am working Cape Race, which was a wireless station located in Cape Race in Newfoundland, because apparently the Californian was sending these messages, and like this is all through like radio operating systems, right?
Yeah.
They were sending these messages without signing off that it was the captain sending them. So apparently Jack Phillips just thinks this is some guy just trolling him. And he's shut up. And he's trying to get passenger telegrams sent out because he has like bars on his radio operating system.
Yeah, it's like the captain is like, dude, there's ice everywhere. And he's like, shut up. An old woman needs to send her cookie recipe to her niece.
Like, it's truly it. It's like he's sending out gossip to Newfoundland.
Yeah, exactly.
While this ship is like, we are literally parked because we're going to hit ice. Like,
a first-class passenger just found out that her maid is pregnant out of wedlock.
Yeah, she needs to send the gossip.
The papers need to know.
Yeah, so he was backlogged. He was stressed.
He's a himbo. Let's say he's a himbo. He's Tom Holland. They don't pay him.
He's going through second puberty and he's having a hard time.
Yeah,
like
he's
25 years old.
He's just so backed up. He can't focus.
He's so backed up he can't focus.
Because he's straight on the Titanic, so there's not a lot of options.
Yeah, exactly. He's straight on the Titanic and he's also stuck in this tiny room with the radio. So the Californian then turns off their radio.
Fine. Tell me to shut up. Fine.
Yeah. Like, okay. Fuck you, dude.
No, good luck.
Fuck you too. Also, it was nighttime. They were going to bed. And I guess I would like to think that they assume that the Titanic has also just like taken their warning and stopped. And maybe this guy was just being a pisshead, whatever.
It's not your job to do that. Like, it's not your job to be like, hey, I told you we're stopped.
Yeah.
Are you guys stopping? Like, it's not your job. You can't, I'm saying that to the Californian.
It's not.
You don't need to take responsibility for this.
It's not your fault.
You don't need to.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
And we forgive you.
It's not your fault. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Goodwill Hunting. It's from Goodwill Hunting. Thank you, Rob. So then Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee are in the crow's nest, okay? That's the tower with the little basket in it where they look out.
They're both looking like Beck.
Yes. So they're both looking like Beck. Post-coitus.
Little fuckable asses. They only let the twinks with the most fuckable asses. They only let Beck with the most fuckable asses up in the crow's nest.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Real. That's naval law. That's maritime law.
Yeah. So here's the crazy thing about the night that you have to understand.
Say that after I say the most insane vibe. Here's the actual crazy thing.
Here's the actual crazy thing, not what Carley said. That was insane. This is the crazy thing about the night is that there's no moon.
New moon.
There's a new moon. The Titanic's Team Jacob established.
Let's say that.
Fact.
Absolutely. The Titanic would imprint upon a newborn baby.
And then the water is totally still, which is weird. Like, it's weird. And so they couldn't see, like, the reason they couldn't see the iceberg for so long is that there was no, like, waves crashing up against the ice.
Yeah.
So it made the ice look a lot farther away than it actually was.
Because you're not like seeing.
You're not seeing.
It's like you're not. It's like when objects in mirror may be closer than they appear.
Closer than they appear. Yeah. So they're just trucking along. Can't see shit. Jack Phillips is having a hissy fit in the radio wireless operating room.
He's making sure that some like random socialite sects get to his mistress.
Yeah, exactly. So it's looking bad at this point.
But hey, things might turn around.
Things might turn around. There's some hope. Actually, just kidding. pranked you. There's no hope.
No!
It's the Titanic. So 11:40 p.m., Fleet sees the iceberg. He rings the warning bell 3 times and calls down to the bridge with, "Iceberg, straight ahead."
He was a newsie.
Yeah, he's a newsie.
Iceberg, straight ahead.
Iceberg, straight ahead.
You don't need money when you're famous.
He gives you whatever you want. Gratis. Slay.
He's doing tap. Iceberg, straight ahead.
Straight ahead. So they're like iceberg straight ahead. Like literally head on, which is crazy.
Oh, that sucks.
That actually sucks. That sucks ass. I'll say it. I'll say it.
I'll say it. It
sucks that they were heading directly towards an iceberg where like...
That's so brave of you to say.
Yes. If the iceberg were even just like
to the side.
Could have been to the side. This could have all been prevented. They were just head on raw dog in the iceberg, okay?
Mm-hmm. No condom.
No condom.
Iceberg on ship action. It feels better that way.
Yeah. So William Murdoch, the first officer on duty, who we spoke about in the past, William Murdoch.
Of mysteries.
Of Murdoch mysteries. I for sure thought that was the association as a child.
I was like, it must
be about.
It's funny any child knows about Murdoch mysteries.
It's funny that as a child I knew not just about Murdoch mysteries, but also who William Murdoch was.
I have so many questions for you.
I'm don't think I'm okay looking at my life.
You're not.
I know.
I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that for free.
Thank you, Carley. You're so validating. So William Murdoch, first officer, he gives the orders for the ship to hard turn. He's just like, we gotta turn this fucking ship. Also, Captain Smith is sleeping.
Oh,
again,
no.
Most people are sleeping, unfortunately. Or if you're Jack and Rose, you're hooking up in a car.
Yeah.
Or I guess they were on the deck at this point. Anyway, who cares?
Yeah, how would they hook up in a car?
They hooked up in a car. In Titanic, dude.
There's a car?
Yeah. Have you seen Titanic?
I have, but here's the thing. I kind of have really only seen recently iceberg hit on.
Yes.
The meat of the movie.
Well, because that's the best part.
The best part of the movie.
The best part is when they hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
You don't...
That's when shit gets good.
Yeah, for sure. When he's, I think you're going to get your headlines, Mr. Ismay.
Everybody on the ship is a newsie.
They're all striking for...
Yeah.
What are they striking? They're striking...
Newspaper rights.
Yeah, but
they're a union.
What's it called?
A union.
No,
the
who
newspaper.
Are they striking?
Against?
Pulitzer?
Yeah,
No,
Pulitzer.
Is it
Mr. Pulitzer.
Is it Mr. Pulitzer?
It is.
Are you joking with me?
I'm not joking with you. It's Mr. Pulitzer.
Okay, if I find out you're pranking me,
I'm
be
not
upset.
joking with you.
Okay.
Looks like you're going to get your headlines, Mr. Pulitzer. What the hell? My father's going to kill me anyway.
He's going to kill me anyway. Yeah, I feel like a lot of child murder was going on in the olden days.
What segue is that?
He's like, they would always be like, oh, my old man's going to kill me. I'm like, oh, okay.
People say that now.
People say that now. That's crazy.
Sorry, I got to get home. My mom's going to kill me. You wouldn't be like...
Oh, okay. When you put it like that... I just feel like they sounded a lot more serious in the olden times.
I got to get home. My mother's going to kill me. You'd be like, oh, jeez.
Oh, she's going to like strangle
There's darkness
you.
there.
There's darkness. There's a darkness to the past.
Like on the Titanic.
Like on the Titanic. So William Murdoch's like, let's turn this big boat. Let's turn it really fast.
Just slam that.
Let's slam that
steering wheel. It took us a long time to think of the word steering wheel. Slam that steering wheel to the side.
Just slam it.
Do a big turn.
Just gut it, floor it. Let's floor it to the side.
Try and get, I guess the brakes wouldn't work because it's too big.
No. And I think they probably, I don't know what they were trying. Honestly, I think they were just sort of let's fucking steer this boat. So 37 seconds later.
Oh no.
The ship hits the iceberg on the starboard side.
Is that left? I should know. I grew up in a sailing town, but I don't care.
The way I'm I'll say it with confidence, and I'm like,
let's go left.
What the fuck is starboard? Yeah, let's go left.
Let's go left.
I'm gonna say it was the left side. Maybe it was the right side.
Who cares? It's 50-50.
Who gives a shit?
It hits 37. So after they see it,
37 seconds.
They see it, and then 37 seconds later they hit.
Basically.
Oh no! Yeah, what's there to
insane.
do?
Yeah, there is no hope. There's no hope. They're like, iceberg. Steer the ship. They've hit the iceberg. It just fucking punctures the side. So it's a side. So
wouldn't it be better if they
hit
head on?
Honestly, yes, it would have been.
But they didn't
better.
know how far away they were. They
didn't know how they wanted to avoid it, because the thing is, I think if they, and this is just me purely speculating.
I know
based off what
we
I know.
don't have any information on engineering whatsoever. I think if they hit it head on, it might have actually been better.
But then, so one of the biggest problems is that it punctured a bunch of these watertight doors. at once. So like they were supposed to be able to fill up like 4 of them, but it punctured like just all along. So they were all filling up at the same time. Whereas if it had hit straight on, that actually might have worked.
Yeah.
Because then
you're not puncturing
theory,
8 of them at the same time or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're puncturing 1 and then you kind of just have to deal with
because as we know from the Titanic movie, she goes down pretty quick.
She goes down pretty quick. 2 hours and 45 minutes basically. Or like 2 hours. Yeah. It's a short turnaround for the ship sinking.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, the water is above the line of the forward compartments. So 10 minutes from seeing the iceberg, the Titanic is done for. Like there's no hope at that point.
What do you mean by the forward line?
So the water has filled up past the point that like there's no return. Like the ship will sink. Yeah.
10 seconds?
10 minutes, sorry.
Okay.
10 minutes, which still is...
That's too fast.
It's really fast. And keep in mind, again, so many people
bad.
on this boat are asleep.
I know, and it's been like 11 minutes.
And it's like, because I feel like in the day, 10 minutes is like enough time that like you can process something. But like most people haven't even woken up and you're getting woken up to the ship actively sinking. That's terrifying.
Yeah, and it's dark as fuck. It's like olden days too, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's dark.
And there's no moon. So the only lights are from the stars and from the ship's lights. No, it's not a lot of light. It's dark. It's scary. And the water's super still. It's super creepy.
And there's a ghost.
There's a ghost hunting.
At least there's no moon, so there's no werewolves.
Thank God. Yeah,
Thank God. The only thing that could make this worse is if there was a werewolf on board and it was a full moon.
Okay.
The captain's like, oh wait, I can stop it. And then the moon shines in.
He turns into
you're
a
like, wait,
werewolf.
Captain, look at me. And he goes, and he bursts out of his
That's the Titanic musical we need. A werewolf on the Titanic.
I would watch the fuck out of that.
God, that'd be so good. It's the twist.
It's camp.
Need. And they're Team Jacob.
Rocky Horror, that shit.
Rocky Horror Titanic.
Yeah.
I actually think that's the way. If you were to do another Titanic musical, it's got to be like Rocky. Like it's got to be campy. It's got to be Rocky Horror.
Definitely.
It's got to be Repo, the genetic opera.
Yes.
You know? So Thomas Andrews, again, the icon.
Yes.
Surveys the boat. And he's like, yeah, the Titanic was only built to float if 4 of the compartments were flooded. We're done for. The ship only has...
He's the first mate?
No, Thomas Andrews was the architect.
Great, got it.
Famously as played by Victor Garber in the movie. He's super hot. He's a family man.
And that's why he's hot.
And he's Irish.
Higher. He goes, hot. It was, the compartment.
The ship will sink.
The ship wasn't meant to sink with, she won't float with all the compartments full.
She won't float. She's not meant to float. With more than 4 compartments full. I'll do that.
Let me turn the clock back with my finger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he does. And that's true because there was a clock on the Titanic that stopped as it hit the water, and that's how we know the exact time it sunk.
Wow.
2:17
Unless somebody was fucking with the clock.
Yeah, unless someone was fucking with the clock.
Then maybe the Titanic sunk at an entirely different time.
Yeah, we'll never know because famously, there were no cell phones on the Titanic.
Famously, actually, not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of time. There wasn't any cell phones on the Titanic. Probably not even one.
They actually cared about living in the moment.
That's kind of it. Because like the Titanic was kind of full of people living in the moment, free spirits.
Yeah, they didn't need to document everything.
No, exactly. They were just they were confident to just like have memories and actually like look up from their phones and talk to each other.
Yeah, like actually make connections. They didn't need to selfie everything and vlog everything.
No, exactly.
It's actually...
Which is why it's sadder that these people died.
It's actually sadder because we have no like vlogs from the Titanic.
That's actually the biggest tragedy.
Biggest tragedy is the lack of Get Ready With Me is filmed on the Titanic. Get ready with me for a first class ball.
It's like the Bama Rush girls. It's like, hey y'all, I'm on the Titanic. Titanic Day 2, OOTD.
Titanic Day 2. Shirt is Lulu. Skirt is Lulu. Socks are Lulu. Headband's Lulu.
So now it's 12:15. And the Titanic radios CQD, which is the international distress call at the time. So it's being like SOS. The Titanic is in trouble.
The Titanic is sinking. SOS the Titanic.
And Smith orders the lifeboats to begin boarding women and children because he's #I'm with her.
He's a feminist.
He's a feminist, first and foremost, and then a childist second.
Yeah, childish. He loves children and women. Hates men.
Yeah, as he should. He's a misandrist.
Misandrist. He's a misandrist.
I do feel like every once in a while I'm like, I feel like I veer into that.
For sure. I think you have to keep yourself healthy.
Yeah, a little bit of anger is never bad. Then we go to 12:20 a.m. and the lifeboats life barks, by the way. And the life homers.
The life Lisas.
All of them. The lifeboats are being lowered into the water, and the Carpathia is alerted of the emergency and begins its way towards the Titanic. So the problem with this, though, is that they're 93 kilometers away.
Which is a long way away.
Especially in this time when it's like boats are slow. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a moment.
And it's also, I don't think that they understand that the Titanic is going down. I think that they think she's just kind of bobbing there.
And they're like, yeah, we'll come get you, girl.
Yeah. So they're like, we're coming.
Yeah, she's like,
we're going to be there 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, she's like, I'm leaving no big now. Deal. I'm leaving now. She's like, yeah, I'm leaving now, but she's still like putting her makeup on.
Yeah, exactly. she's hanging out. She's trying her best.
Oh, I might be a little behind today.
Because the Californian is closer, but the radio's off.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Tom Holland.
Because Tom Holland was a little asshole.
Yeah.
But also they're probably just asleep, you know?
Yes. And also, this is something that you told me, because the reason that like they radio the boats to come and help them is because there's not enough lifeboats on the Titanic for everyone, which we know from culture.
Yes.
But it's because, generally speaking, boats like this are meant to like be able to bob for a considerable amount of time in the water so that they can stay afloat long enough for another boat to get to them.
Yes. The lifeboats are meant to be used as shuttles, not to like paddle you to shore. The idea is that another boat would show up and like it would take like that boat would take the people to the other boat.
Yeah.
And then
so they're not just like meant to have one for everyone because it's quite literally a shuttle.
The Titanic actually had more lifeboats than was needed by regulations.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that like you have to wrap around your head like how intensely just like a freak accident this was.
Well, and again, like we said, like the Titanic hasn't happened.
Yes. So they don't have the context.
Also, it is just like, you know, the modern blind spots as well. It's like, I don't know anything about ships. Like why would I ever not know that lifeboats are meant to hold everyone? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, like
hello.
In the Titanic, they didn't have enough.
I would like to get on a lifeboat, please.
One lifeboat, please.
One lifeboat for me, please.
So at 12:45 a.m., Phillips begins using SOS. And this is the second time it's ever been used. Congratulations.
Since it was approved. They're setting off rockets. They're trying their best.
Number 7, lifeboat number 7, on the starboard side, which we're going to say is left, but who knows? We're just guessing that. We're
guessing the starboard is left.
Okay.
We could Google it. Why though? Why waste time?
It's 50%. Actually, I trust a woman's intuition.
Why waste time when you could spend that time singing Newsies?
Exactly. And so this is the first lifeboat that's lowered. It carries 27 people, even though there is room for 65.
Insane.
Which is a sleigh. I think that's awesome. I actually think, because I'm taking devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I actually think that's good. Because you want to be able to stretch your legs out.
That's true. You want to be able to lounge.
No, exactly. And like,
you don't want to be sitting like a board.
Yeah. And it's like, well-behaved women rarely ever make history. And I don't think it's very well behaved to put the 65 people that could fit in the lifeboat.
Yeah.
In the lifeboat. You know, the Titanic was a nasty woman.
Nasty.
The Titanic
was a girl boss.
Titanic was girl bossing. She had a pussy hat.
Yes. Pussy ears.
Yeah, the future is female. Many of the first lifeboats that are launched are well below capacity. I guess they also do. Here's the thing that I have a question about this. Because I understand that lifeboats are meant to be shuttles.
Yes.
But presumably the people on the ship who are the crew know it's going down.
Yeah, for sure.
So why would you not fill them up?
This is the thing where it's just like, I don't know if like, I think that there were just like varying beliefs of what was happening in this whole thing. Because
it's happening fast.
Because like there must have been people who were like, you know, the ship isn't actually going to go down. And then there's also like everything's happening so fast. And then also they're trying to like, you know, get these lifeboats off. Whereas like a lot of people just don't want to get in the boats, I think is another factor that like is oft not considered. Is the fact that a lot of people are just like, why would I get off the ship? The ship isn't going to sink. Whatever. I can just wait until that boat gets, like, I don't want to get off until there's like another boat for me to get on kind of thing. And they're also like, again, they're
so
like
annoying.
So many of them have been dragged out of bed. Can you imagine getting dragged out of bed and being like, getting this tiny boat with 60 other people? I get it. Like, I get the resistance. Like, it's insane looking back. But again, the Titanic had not happened yet.
And that's kind of the undercurrent of this whole episode.
Undercurrent of the whole episode.
You can't, like, because like, they're not like on the boat being like, oh, the Titanic sunk, so I should get in the boat.
Exactly. Like, I've seen this in a James Cameron movie, therefore I'll get in the boat. They don't have that, you know?
Yeah. So a lot of the lifeboats are being launched under capacity. It also, this makes sense, like them being shuttles makes a lot of sense to me now too, why it's like the first class passengers on, get women and children on, because it's like a courtesy kind of gentlemanly thing of the past or whatever, of just being like, oh, you get to go on the new ship faster because you paid more money or because you're a woman or whatever. Yeah. It makes sense to me now. Yeah. As opposed to I was like, I get like, again, like, not to sound like a men's rights activist, but it is kind of this old-timey idea of like honor is really fucks up a lot of people on this Titanic. Because like even the men who do survive, and we will talk about that in the aftermath episode because I was doing some research for that. Like you can still survive the Titanic and everyone's like, it's crazy how you're a coward. Yeah. Yeah. Like what?
Well, yeah, because you would just be shat on. Like you would just be like, yeah, no one would respect you because you were like, oh, you took a woman's seat. You took a child's seat. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I get it. And the other crazy thing is that like, so the Californians seeing the rockets of the Titanic, but they can't like figure out what it is. Like
turn
they can't
turn the fucking radio back on.
Yeah, like they can't figure out the source, you know? Like they're like, there's rockets.
They're like fireworks.
Yeah, they're like, this is awesome. There's also they see another ship pass and they can't get its attention. And apparently it's rumored to have been an illegal seal hunting boat. And that's why.
Awesome. So I guess Morrissey was right. on everything he's ever said, he's been correct.
He's been correct. So then this is 1 a.m. onwards. So this is the showdown.
It's the witching hour.
The witching hour. Shit's gotten bad. The band is playing. They're famously playing.
I was at a restaurant yesterday and they were literally playing like smooth jazz renditions of pop hits. Like it was like, I got a feeling. Ooh.
Oh my God.
It was insane. Like I was like, the fact that I'm expected to eat a meal and talk about anything else besides this is actually criminal to me. Yeah. And that's kind of what I choose to believe. The band is doing like, they're doing like a don't stop, make it pop.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're playing, shit's going down.
Famously, if you haven't seen the movie, I mean, the whole idea is that the band is ordered to play jaunty tunes on the Titanic to keep spirits high as people are boarding into the lifeboats. And they basically play as the entire ship goes down. They decide to play forever because they believe in music and they're committed to the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah. And they're just like, and they're loaded as like heroes, you know, they're like, you know, that was, and it was, you know, and they all went down with the ship.
And that if I was on the Titanic and I was doing raunchy improv games, I would have gone down.
Yeah. If Beer Prov was on the Titanic instead of the band, I think people would have had an amazing night too.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I just think that it would have been different. I just think we should have considered that.
It would have been fun. I like to think that I would have done improv.
I'm doing party quirks and I'm like, I'm a bird that loves fisting. Yeah. tweet. And everyone's like loading into the lifeboats and they're like, this girl's got something.
You're actually really funny.
This girl's really funny.
This is actually really witty. Like other people wouldn't think of that.
No, exactly. They wouldn't think of like the nuance of that.
You should consider being on SNL. Yeah. When you get off this boat.
So the band is playing at this point.
So they're playing. The band is playing. The ship is going down. The lifeboats are loading. So
not full, just fully, empty.
So stuff is happening. Lifeboat 5, 2 male passengers jump into the boat, injuring one of the female passengers.
And ain't that just the way? Ain't that just how life goes?
Yeah. Lifeboat 6, containing Molly Brown and the lookout Frederick Fleet, who said iceberg right ahead.
So Beck and Kathy Bates
are in a lifeboat together right now.
Yes.
So and then there's the guy who was at the wheel when the Titanic struck the iceberg, also in this lifeboat.
You gotta hate to be the guy at the wheel when the iceberg strikes the Titanic.
Yeah. And then
But I relate to that. Like I commit myself to never being good at my job. So if I was on the Titanic, like I would also be doing it half. I'd be like, I don't have benefits.
For sure.
I don't like,
I'm just a lowly sailor.
No, you're not paying me enough to not crash this ship into an iceberg.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
I would just ram it right in.
Yeah.
See what happens. So
you don't know what happens until it happens.
He's commanding the boat and he doesn't want to go back and look for survivors. Which pisses off.
Why?
Because they will only find like dead people though. She's just like, we're just gonna find corpses.
Okay.
And then Molly Brown threatens to throw him overboard because she's a queen.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love when people kind of throw their weight around in that way. It's really, really just it's one of my favorite things is when people are like, no. There's something very funny to me about it.
Yeah.
Like I love
we're not doing that.
No, I love the idea of somebody who kind of like probably knows a little bit more about the ocean than you, being like, we're just gonna find frozen corpses, and you're like, great. Well, I'm gonna throw you overboard.
What if I fucking kill you then?
Yeah. What if I kill myself?
You don't want to look for survivors? How about you become a fucking corpse with them?
Oh yeah,
bitch.
You can become an ice cube.
Yeah. How about actually you kill yourself?
She's like next to her in like a full seat on the Titanic. Lifeboat is being taken up by just a mummy that she brought. She brought a mummy and she's like, anyways, we should probably look for survivors. And this guy's fucked up. Not me. Don't look at me and my mummy. Don't look at my mummy. Don't look at the mummy. The mummy is taking up a seat in the lifeboat. Yes. But the mummy is also very important.
Don't look the mummy in the eyes.
Don't look the mummy in the eyes.
Or you'll be cursed.
Don't touch its amulet. You don't want to know what happens when you touch the mummy's amulet. But we should go back and look for survivors.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's the freak, not me.
No,
not me.
actually,
don't speak to me.
No, let's get survivors.
Let's just go. Let's go. This guy, I don't want to talk about it.
Who touched the amulet?
Someone touched the amulet.
Who touched it?
Because now the lights have gone out. The lights have gone out of the fucking ship and someone's touched the amulet.
The mummy's alive.
I'm actually going to fucking freak out right now.
It'd be funny if like they're doing like the numbers on who died and who lived in the Titanic and they're like, sorry, there's a new there's one more person. And Molly Brown's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that's my mummy.
The mummy came to life because somebody, not naming names, rubbed the amulet. So now King Tut's here.
Yeah. Now we have a 19-year-old boy with a limp who just came back from the dead.
I was just thinking about this. We'll continue, obviously. The Titanic is like this as well, but there are certain historical things in kid culture that you would think are more important to adult life. Like ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
When in my life have I needed like
just King Tut in general? Why do I know so much about King Tut?
Yeah.
And like the expedition and all that. Like,
yeah.
It's like those kids that you meet who like know so much about marine biology.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you know so much about turtles?
Autism.
Yeah. But like there was this girl I was friends with, she was like my most popular friend growing up. She loved turtles and she knew so
turtles
much.
Is a real thing. Like
turtles have a grip.
I knew a girl who loved turtles.
Yeah, dude. Turtles and like dolphins and like all this stuff. Like blah blah.
She would only hang out with me to get
It's
back
insane.
at her other friends if she was mad at them.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's a lot of child.
And
friendships.
I went anyway. So
yeah. It's like I just really need friends right now.
Okay.
So anyway, aside from that, shit's going down. Yeah, now Lifeboat 1 is launched with 12 people. It can hold 40. It's going bad.
Number 3 is lowered, and this is carrying approximately 39 people, and 12 are part of the ship's crew. But at least they're filling the boats up.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so funny to be a crew and like, look, if you guys aren't getting on.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get on. I'm actually going to get on. I hope that like, the servers survive, like the bartenders, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember reading about some crew, like and servers in that survived and was able to get on like with the crew. But there was a cafe on the Titanic that was basically run by a third party. So it was hired. It was like a Compass or whatever. Yes. Like, when they have like office, like you're like a contractor basically.
Yeah.
So it was entirely staffed, not by White Star Line. It was like staffed by a third party company.
That's
so they
insane.
were locked in the below, like they were locked below and not allowed to leave. Because they were like the lowest of the low. They're like, you're not on the ship technically, so you're not allowed.
Insane.
So it's like cafe workers and shit who are like predominantly, a lot of them were immigrants, of course. Not to, not to make it sadder.
Yeah.
But like they were just like because of the minutia of your work contract, you can't get on a lifeboat insane.
Now. That's very like, and Starbucks would do that though.
Oh, that's Starbucks. That's Starbucks to a T.
Starbucks would do that. And Starbucks would lock you in the basement of the Titanic.
Starbucks is union busting. like the ship is going down and Starbucks is like, right, but a union actually, it's bad.
It's actually bad.
And the PSL's back.
The PSL, it's cold now. We have an apple oat espresso shaken.
Have you had the pumpkin cream cold brew?
Yes, it's really good.
It's so good.
I wish it wasn't.
Honestly, the pumpkin cream cold brew is so good. For a second, it makes me forget about unions.
Yeah.
And I'll say that.
Honestly, I just love that cream stuff they do on top of the coffee now.
No, it really is.
I don't know when they started doing that, but I'm like, this is kind of just what I've always wanted and never been able to articulate.
It really is that where it's like, I want a regular coffee, but I want kind of like sea foam on top, and I want it to taste like spice.
And I don't want to have to put sugar and milk in my coffee. I want something that's combined that I can just throw it in, and it's not a creamer. You know what I mean?
They're doing bad stuff there.
For sure.
But in terms of drink science, they've got to be leaders in the industry, right?
Yeah. It's like their drinks are like, yeah, I see how you got here.
Yeah.
You know?
I worked at Starbucks and I hated it. I worked at Starbucks for 1 month and then I fainted on the floor. And then my boss asked me to go back to work and I was like, no. And then I just kind of like walked off into the night.
That's really funny. That's how you have to do it though. Yeah, I applied to about 10 Starbucks at one point when I was like, just because like they had that portal you could apply to a bunch.
Yes.
Just when I was in a moment of like, I was looking for a job and I was like, I don't even fucking care. I'll work at Starbucks. And then they never got back to me. And then a year later, I got 10 rejections in the same day. It was very funny.
Woof.
It was like, it was just like through their automated system, but it was very funny. So lifeboat number 8 is one of the first lifeboats lowered on the port side. It's launched with 28 people. Isadora and Ida Strauss of Macy's.
Of King Princess
are offered seats on the boat. And I cried reading this. But Isadora refused to disobey the women and children order. And Ida, in turn, would not leave her husband's side, reportedly saying, where you go, I go. And then they died together on the ship.
That's really sweet.
I'm actually tearing up.
Honestly, like,
that's so sad.
I don't believe in millionaires and billionaires, and I think that you shouldn't be that rich.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's really sweet.
That's so sweet. Like, it's so
imagine though,
beautiful.
It's like,
it is sad.
Like, you're like,
yeah.
Do you mind?
Actually? Oh God, it's just my sister. Be so mad if I died on the boat.
Yeah, I just got like a lot of important stuff on the go.
Yeah, I kind of just feel like I probably have a few more years.
I would be so mad though if they were like, you have spots on the boat.
Yeah.
My fucking husband's like, no, women and children must be. I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
First of all, gender's a spectrum. So get your ass on the boat.
Gender's a spectrum from children to man. In that
and
order.
And it's fluid. And it's actually fluid.
Yeah,
so right now you could be a child at heart.
Yes.
Internally.
100%. And you are living through your childhood and adulthood at the same time.
I'd be so mad.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that though. Because I'd be like, we talked about this before where I was like, I do get this. Where like, I'd be like, well, I'm not gonna, if you're gonna die.
You're like, why am I?
I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Like, I'm not gonna like be weird and like let you die by yourself.
Yeah, and then it's awkward in the lifeboat.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be like, so you're just gonna let him die? It's like, yeah.
Like, I get it. It's really sweet.
But it's insane.
It's also so sad.
Yeah. It's fucking depressing. Also, Lifeboat 10 has a 9-week-old Melvina Dean, who will become the last living survivor of the Titanic. And she dies in 2009 at 97 years old.
I love that. I remember with my grandma, I would just honestly ask her, be like, what's the crazy shit from the past? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And if I found out my grandma was on the Titanic.
That's insane.
It would be, I would talk about literally nothing else.
Yeah.
One time my grandma sat down at the table and she went, one time I met a woman who had a lobotomy. And I went, tell me everything.
Yeah.
Like, if my grandma was like, I was 9 weeks old.
Yeah.
On the Titanic. I'd be like,
what do you remember?
Do you have any like sense memory?
Yeah. Do you have any photos of you on it? Or like,
imagine you have a 9-week-old baby and you're like, oh my God, the ship is going.
Or
you know, like when you're on a flight and you see like you walking on the flight and there's like 7 babies and you're like, oh no, these babies are gonna cry.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine you're like, oh, fuck. Lifeboat number 10. Yeah. I'm gonna escape the Titanic. Yes. Oh,
baby.
You're bringing the baby. So are you gonna cry the whole time?
So we're gonna just sink the ship, and then I have to listen to a crying baby. That's actually bad.
God, I hate Mondays.
I hate Mondays. This week's just gonna be bad. I know. Yeah. This is a terrible start to the week.
Oh my God. If you told Garfield about the Titanic.
Oh, he'd have a field.
He'd have a fucking fit.
Yeah, and they definitely were not making lasagnas.
No, unless you can make lasagnas from 9 layers of potatoes.
Yeah. Oh, also, I want to bring up the chef did we talk about the chef?
I have the chef
Passenger?
I wrote a lot about him. I think he's in the Survivors because he survived.
Oh, okay.
But we can talk about him. Why don't we talk about him here a little bit?
Yeah. So there's a chef who we'll talk about later in the Survivor episode. He is just getting wasted.
Charles Yongin, he was a chef who was off duty during the impact because, again, it was at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent his bakers up while they were loading people into the lifeboats immediately with loaves of bread to just pass out to keep vibes high. And he, while that happened, he went to his bunk to get it to just start drinking. Like, he just starts pounding alcohol.
Yeah.
Which, like, fair. I'm not going to judge that. Then he goes up to the deck and gets his assigned lifeboat, like gets his lifeboat number or whatever. But instead, he makes sure he gives his spot to a woman, King. And then he went back down to after he did that, he went back down to his bunk again, drank more alcohol. And then when he came back to the deck, all the lifeboats are gone.
Yeah.
He goes to the deck B or whatever. He starts throwing like lawn chairs and shit into the water. So like when it goes down, hopefully you can grab onto something.
Yeah.
He's drunk as fuck. And then he basically just waits for the Titanic to slowly sink into the water.
Yeah.
So he doesn't jump.
No.
It just lowers until the deck is at the water. He swims away because he's drank so much alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
His body, like he was warm, and his body didn't go into shock.
Yeah, and he's also not stressed.
Yeah,
like,
he
doesn't have that like
he doesn't, and then he just swims to a lifeboat. He's like, y'all do that, whatever. You guys can freak out.
I feel like the solution to a disaster is getting wasted.
Yeah,
I feel like this is really the
not every disaster,
not every disaster, but a lot of them. So Guggenheim, one of the richest men in the world at the time, famously gets dressed up into his formal attire with his valet, says we've dressed up in our best and are prepared to go down like gentlemen, and he fucking dies. His body's never recovered. He just drowns. He's dead.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie again, like I'll kind of give a paint of that if you only know a little bit about the Titanic. Yeah. But basically they don't want to get, he probably could have gotten on a lifeboat if he wanted to, because all the really rich people were like given a slot or whatever.
For sure. He easily could have.
And instead takes his valet butler.
Yeah.
Bestie. They dress up in their best clothes.
Yeah.
And they just sit in the fucking
they're just hanging out, having a brandy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just chilling, which is a cool way to go down. I feel like
you cannot argue with the fact that there is some swag there. There is a little bit of drip. Like, it's cool.
He's dripping like crazy for sure. And then also, his alleged mistress gets on a lifeboat. So that's fun. So he's had someone.
And she's like, what, 15?
For sure. Absolutely. Nary a mistress over legal age on the Titanic.
Your wife is your age. Your mistress is a child.
Yeah, just kind of like a middle schooler that you pick up.
Your friend,
on the steps of the Met.
Your friend's daughter.
Yeah. And you guys have a connection.
I love that.
And she's mature.
Like whenever, she's actually really mature for her age of 12. I love when you talk to old people and they're like, it was different back then. I fucked a 12-year-old. And you're like, that's bad.
That was bad then.
What you're describing is bad,
It's just strange that nothing got called out. So.
Yeah. But she got on a boat, so she's fine.
So she got on a boat. Allegedly. This is funny. I giggled at this, which is the Olympic, which is the Titanic's sister ship, radios the Titanic and says, "Are you steering southerly to meet us?" So they're radioing SOS, we're going down, we're dying. The Olympic is like, okay, you're gonna come to me or am I gonna come to you? Which one are we doing? Are you gonna come to me? Because it's actually probably easier if you came to me.
It's just really cold and I have to do stuff later.
It's actually really cold. It's really late. We're all going to bed. So you could just come to me. You could come to me. Because I'm already tucked into bed. So you could just come to me.
I'm snug as a bug in a rug.
I'm snug as a rug in a rug.
That's really funny. It's like, girl, they said SOS.
Yeah. And then the Titanic response, we're putting the woman off in the boats.
Like, okay, I guess I'll come.
And they're like, okay.
I was getting ready for bed. I already had my sleepy time tea.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess.
They just can't. So Phillips is sending out more distress calls. They're loading the lifeboats. Things are chaos. He's sending out distress calls, say women and children in boats cannot last much longer. This guy's getting desperate. Number 13 is launched. Number 15 is launched. Blah, 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 blah. And now it's 15 nearly lands on top of 13, which is terrifying.
That would be, imagine you're in 13 and you're like, so how did this happen? It's like one gets launched and they're lowering it down.
Yeah.
And then they lower another one just on top.
Yeah, basically.
Fucking why?
So
I guess the Titanic didn't happen, so they haven't seen the movie when the boat crushes.
Yeah, exactly. So shit's going down. It's looking bad. Bruce Ismay gets on a boat, you know, he's called a coward for that forever. We already know this.
Several male passengers try to board lifeboat number 14, which causes the 5th officer, Harold Lowe, to fire his gun 3 times. He's later, because he's the officer to ever place a command of the boat. But after the sinking of the Titanic, Lowe will transfer people into lifeboats 4, 10, and 12. So like he's transferring people over who are already on lifeboats to like being like, everybody get on this one so we can have empty boats to go look for survivors. Or stiffs, as the guy that Molly Brown threatens. Molly Brown goes, don't look at the mummy.
Don't touch the amulet. Let's go look for stiffs. So John Jacob Astor tries to join his
other rich guy
who has a teen pregnant wife. She's like 17. She's pregnant.
That's a really rough sentence to hear.
He's like, can I get in the boat with her? And they're like,
and everyone's
no.
like, and everyone's like, gross.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone's like, ew, no, get away. He doesn't get on and he dies.
Good. That's what you get.
Too bad.
Too bad. So sad. Don't have sex with a kid.
Yeah.
Now we're at 2 a.m. Now we're at 2 a.m. So when did they make contact with the iceberg?
That would have been at 11:40.
So it's been like, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. A cool episode and a half of Riverdale. Yeah. Like, not a lot has happened. But now only lifeboats that remain in the Titanic are 3 collapsible boats.
Yeah.
And she's going down, right? So yeah, the ship
sinking.
is starting to tilt because the airtight compartments are filling with water.
Yes.
So eventually it gets to like a 90-degree angle, 45-degree? 90 is insane.
Yeah, so this is another thing, like, because the eyewitnesses, so it was dark and
no moon. Thank God.
No moon, thank God. Because
the werewolves. And the werewolves fighting King Tut, it's a whole thing.
It would have been a whole thing. King Tut versus the werewolves, Titanic.
Freddy versus Jason on the Titanic.
On the Titanic, but it's werewolves and the mummy.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. So there are a lot of like different theories about like
the actual angle at which the ship starts kind of like sinking at because it's filling with water.
So it's pretty much agreed upon now that the ship did break in half before it went down. But there are also other theories that say that like it imploded on the way down. Also like that the ship, like some people say it stuck like directly out of the water, like 90 degrees. Other people said it was more like a 45 degree. I feel like it was probably about 45 degrees when it broke.
Yeah, that's still a crazy amount.
It's still like very high out of the water.
Obviously when you picture 45 degrees, you're picturing like a line on a piece of paper and you're like, that's not that much. But like this is, again, a boat.
A giant boat.
You're on a boat and you're like, why am I in the air?
Yeah.
Respectfully,
should not be in the air. I hate being in the air.
No, I don't ever need to do it.
I don't need to do it. I don't want to be picked up.
You
I don't
could
want to
literally
go in the air.
not put a gun to my head and make me do that CN Tower edge walk.
No way. The day I edge walk is the day that I edge death and die.
Yeah, I shoot myself in the head.
If I'm edge walking, I'm cutting my cord and I'm falling. Like we're done. We're done.
So crewmen lower collapsible lifeboat D from the roof, and then more than 20 people are on the boat. But now it's now sunk low enough, the Titanic, that the stern's propellers are like visible above the water. Things are bad.
Things are bad.
If the propellers are above the water, like...
Guys, this part of the sinking, it's the last 15 minutes. The ship has been sinking for 2 hours at this point. It's just bad from here on out. The boats in the water, they're not launching any more lifeboats. Things are getting swept away. People are screaming, all this stuff.
They load another collapsible A into the water, but the Titanic's bow, right?
Yeah,
it's spelled B-O-W, guys. So
B-O-W.
It's now in the water, right? So now the boat, the collapsible fills with water
for sure.
There was 14 people on it. By the time they like come to their, they get in the boat still full of water. There's 14 people in this collapsible boat, half with water, whatever. By the time they get there to like help them, only 12 are alive because it's like full of water and swept away.
That's crazy. That. This is around the time also that Captain Smith says every man for himself. So he's like, whatever.
Let's say that. You're on a ship that's sinking. You hate to hear every man for himself.
Because like,
I don't want to hear that.
I want to hear that there's a plan and that I'm okay.
Respectfully, I want you to lie. Like, I want you to be like, I want you to say, this is normal.
Yeah. Say,
this was supposed to happen.
Say this happened last week to me and I was fine.
Yeah. I don't want to hear don't go over the loudspeaker.
Yeah. Don't be like, every man for himself. You no longer have to work as a crew. You are allowed to just do whatever you need to survive. I'm like, no, I want you to tell me that you have a secret plan all along.
Yeah. No, actually, this is April Fools.
April Fools. Late April Fool's joke. Sorry, it took 2 weeks to plan.
Yeah, it's
Just because it had a lot of details.
Planning,
weeks of planning.
And also on April 1st,
nights.
you'd be expecting it.
Exactly. But April 14th, you wouldn't be. This is just a big April Fool's joke, the sinking of the Titanic.
So you hate to hear every man for himself, because now the crewmen that are on the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not helping.
They're not helping. They're running around. Things are bad. The band is playing. Nearer thy God to thee. 2:17 a.m. Philip sends a final distress signal. He apparently makes it to an overturned lifeboat and dies of exposure.
Yeah, also says Captain Smith was last seen on the bridge, but his body was also never recovered.
Yep.
There was some point before this where another collapsible boat, and again, we only have 4 of these, so you want them to be upright.
Yes.
Respectfully.
Ideally.
The hope is the boat that's going to save your life is not upside down.
Yeah.
It gets, while they're loading it up, it gets swept away by the water, as you would know. 30 men find safety in the still overturned boat. Like,
wow.
They're like on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it's overturned and they're like on the top of it, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to say,
they're just hanging
nothing against historians. They could use a little bit more descriptive language, so we're not making guesses.
Yeah, like tell me, how were they standing?
Paint a picture.
How were they standing?
Yeah.
What was the vibe?
What
were
was
they
the vibe?
chill or were they like kind of stressed?
Yes.
You know, like come on.
Now we're at 2:18
a.m.
So the lights on the Titanic go out.
So it's dark.
It's dark, which is very scary. Because again, no moon.
It's only the stars. Now
so
the ship's lights are out.
The lights are out, so it gets really dark. That's bad.
Yep. And then the bow continues to go into the water.
45-degree angle. 45-degree angle. She's going down.
She cracks.
In half, you're saying?
Yeah.
That's bad.
Can we say how clean a break it was? Probably not. But she cracks in half.
Which is not matters.
Good. No matter how clean.
No, it doesn't matter how clean the break is. You don't want your ship to
you
crack
don't want your ship to crack in half. It's usually a bad time when that happens. Yeah, and then she's gone. She's gone.
Yeah, and it's, it took around 6 minutes for the bow section to reach the ocean bottom.
Which is crazy.
Which is too fast. Some might say too fast.
Yeah. Which is crazy too, because I just don't understand the mechanisms of something sinking at that speed. Yeah, and at that point,
there's got to be some kind of physics involved, right? Where it's almost like it's being sucked down, right?
Yeah, there's for sure a suction happening,
because that's how a lot of people died too. It's you're not just want to be the chef again,
who
jumts off,
but people
and you can just swim. But if you're going on the boat, you can just get sucked down on the boat.
You get pulled
because there's motion.
Yeah, for sure.
Famously,
motion.
There's motion, right?
Yeah, you're such a physicist.
I honestly, thank you for noticing that. Thank you for noticing
laws
that.
of motion. So by 2:20 a.m., the last of the Titanic is underwater. We're done. We're gone. And the Carpathia reaches the Titanic at 4 a.m. and rescues the 710 survivors. Also, some lifeboats don't make it, which is crazy too.
That's bad. I didn't know that.
I think there's at least one that just
filled with water or some shit.
Yeah, it's a bad time, and in that's such a deadly 2 hours too.
Well, it's cold. That's the thing too. It's even if they pull you out of the water,
you're dying of hypothermia.
You're so wet,
and you cannot get warm,
and your body's in shock.
Your body's in shock, and you've also just seen a very traumatic event, and probably people you knew just died in front of you.
Yeah,
and
I was researching again because I was doing some research for the aftermath. So listening to recounts of survivors of the Titanic. And we'll get more in depth into some specific stories in that episode.
Wow.
But a man was, first of all, there's a crazy image of a man before and after he survived on the Titanic. And his hair basically immediately after turns stark white.
Oh my God.
And he goes from looking 22 to looking 40 just by the nature of the stress
That's
aging.
Stressful.
Yeah.
Holy shit, eh?
And people say there was a survivor who I believe ended up living in Chicago and lived near the baseball stadium there. And he said it was traumatic because the sound you hear when a stadium full of people is screaming in celebration of a home run sounds how it sounded when people were screaming going into the water.
That's terrifying.
And then they said that it just became silent. You know what I mean? It was loud, and then it's silent and you're what?
Well, that's when the Titanic was sinking, was very, very loud.
Yeah.
Because there were people screaming.
The steel is
The steel is
half.
cracking. Like it's a loud, noisy. There's a lot going on. Like it would have been just terrible. But that's the sinking of the Titanic.
Pretty sad. Pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy.
Lives
were lost. But now we've done that. And it's time now for the best segment of the show.
Let's make this tragedy about us!
When we forget about the tragedy and remember that we're here, we're queer, we're awesome. Let's go.
And we have a podcast.
Yes.
And why have a podcast if not
to make it about yourself?
Make the tragedy about us. So this week's question, it's a layer of a couple things.
Yes.
Famously, we have already talked in, I think, episode 1. We kind of were comparing the Titanic to 9/11, and we were talking about the iconic Mark Wahlberg tweet. Or not tweet, it's a sentence. It's a statement.
He just said it loud and proud in public.
With his chest. Where he was supposed to be on a plane, one of the planes that was involved in the 9/11 terrorist attack.
Yes.
And he said, if I was on that plane, things would have been different.
Which is an insane thing to say.
It's so funny. So, my question for you, and by extension me today, is if you were on the Titanic, what would your crew position be?
Okay.
Or, if you're not a crew, where are you? What are you doing on the Titanic?
Yes.
And how would you as an individual basically prove the sentence, if I was there? Let's just say it would have been different. How would you have stopped it or improved the situation or just in general been better than everyone else there?
I honestly think that I would have been the guy on the steering wheel. Like I would have gotten myself in control of like whoever says that the Titanic stops and goes. I would have seen that memo that said that there's ice around and I'd be like, we're stopping.
I love that.
I would have just parked the boat. I would have parked the boat
like the Kathy Bates kind of like throwing your weight around a little bit, being like, I'm in first class.
Yeah.
Stop the boat.
I'm literally like, stop the boat. I don't want the boat to be moving anymore. And I think that's like a very you can tell if there was a woman in the steering room, wheel room.
She would have said, let's pause.
She would have said like, let's chill. Let's sleep it. Let's all take a nice restful sleep. And then in the morning, we'll come back to this.
Look, New York's still going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. That's
what
I'm saying. They're going to New York.
Yeah, New York's
the Statue of Liberty isn't going to get up and run away.
Yeah,
she's still there.
It's actually about the journey.
It's actually not even the city's heyday yet. They could have waited until like the 40s.
Exactly.
What do you have? A war, 2 wars and a Great Depression? Just wait.
Oh yeah, you got to rush to get to the Great Depression and World War I and II.
Can't miss the war.
No.
Can't miss the draft.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm gonna be late for draft.
I'm gonna be late for dying a different way.
I'm gonna be late for dysentery.
Oh no! Hopefully I don't get the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Hopefully. Oh, I might be late for fucking the Red Scare.
Exactly.
So would you be on the curb?
I really do think, again, and talking a little bit on your wave of if there was a woman in any of these rooms, I do think it would be different.
For sure.
I would be in the telegraph room, whatever.
Yes. Because you're communicative.
Well, I'd also just listen. Like, if they were like, hey, we're stopped.
Yeah.
We're a ship and we're around you and we're letting you know that because of the ice, we're stopping our ship.
Yeah.
I would not go, shut up. I actually feel with 100% certainty, I could guarantee I wouldn't do that.
I also feel
and not to besmirch the name of surely a dead man.
Yeah. No, he died.
Okay.
He for sure died.
I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, hey, let's investigate. Let's learn.
Let's see what this is about. Let's ask questions.
No, exactly. Because curiosity is the spice of life. And
yeah,
it pays to ask questions.
And you have to be an active listener.
Well, exactly. They'd be like, we're stopped. And I'd go, why?
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Ears and eyes open, heart open. And I also feel like because he was backlogged with all those telegrams, I feel like you wouldn't be because you'd be reading all the telegrams.
Yeah. I'd be like, well, I am not backlogged because I am not caught up on my reading.
And you're also you're a hard worker too. So you would have done what you needed to do. And at that point, you would have just been having fun.
Well, exactly. First of all, I'm not a bootlicker. So I wouldn't be like, oh no, I got to make sure all my telegrams are sent through. You can do it in the morning. Yeah. And it's a Sunday night.
How long are you on the goddamn boat?
That's what I'm saying. It's a Sunday night.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So I really, I see that for you.
Yeah, I would have been like, no, let's stop the boat.
Yeah, if you had delivered me the message, I was on the steering wheel and you were in the radio room.
Let's just kind of play through that scene.
Yes. Okay.
Ring, 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 ring.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. How you doing in the radio room?
How are you?
I'm doing lovely.
Oh, that's so good.
Lovely, lovely up
You
here.
sound good.
Thank you.
You sound good. Yeah.
Just had
it's
some
fun
potatoes.
down here. Oh, me too. The potatoes are good tonight.
Potatoes are gratin this evening.
The potatoes are better than you would actually think.
The potatoes are really lovely. You could tell they're washed.
So washed.
So washed. Really
the most washed a potato could possibly be.
It's a clean potato.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted I'm calling to let you know.
Yeah.
First of all, are you in the headspace to receive kind of stressful information?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Just want to get your consent on that.
Okay.
So the Californian, you know her?
Yes. Mate's on that. My mate's on that.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, he got promoted. Real proud of him.
Oh my God.
Whole family's real happy.
Wow. Well, send my regards.
Right.
They're stopped because of the ice.
Oh, bloody
you
hell.
Saw you saw the notice on the corkboard.
I saw the
right?
notice on the corkboard, yeah.
So I'm thinking, and I'm just spitballing here, and if you don't want to do this, like let me know, because I feel like we can put our heads together. I think we should stop.
I think we should stop there. I was just going to say, I think
we should just stop
reading your mind. I think we should just stop the boat.
Let's just stop the Titanic for a bit.
And you know what? It kind of rumbles. So see everyone a real peaceful night's sleep. We can look at the stars and then start again in the morning.
Exactly.
New York's not going anywhere.
No, and honestly, I've been doing tarot.
Yeah.
I think New York's gonna be bad for a bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe we just take the Titanic.
Yeah.
We go away from where we're supposed to go.
You know what?
We kind of like start a colony somewhere.
I've always wanted to go to Kenya.
Okay.
We could just go to Kenya. We could just go down south.
Yeah. I feel like Kenya's landlocked.
Well, we could park outside walking.
Okay. Yeah, let's fly the let's
fly the boat. Let's fly the boat to Africa
and walk to Kenya. And then we can kind of just vibe there, because I feel like we're not missing any. It just seems like there's going to be some bad stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, let's just go somewhere else.
I'll send some of these telegrams, kind of just let everyone know, like, we'll stop for the night.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we can kind of reconvene and figure it out.
Smart. You're real smart, mate.
You're so smart.
Hope you get promoted.
I hope you get promoted.
I love you.
I feel it. I love you.
I love you.
All right.
Have an amazing night.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
So and then the Titanic wouldn't have happened.
No, it actually would have been better.
So I feel like we've really covered all our bases this week on the Truthtanic. That was none of the sinking.
And it was sad, but we had fun, and that's what matters.
And that's what really matters. Next week we'll be back to talk about the aftermath, some tales of survival, and also the public's general reaction. It's a good one.
I'm excited.
It's insane.
I'm excited. It's also, I feel like I'm like mourning a little bit because we're moving off the boat.
I know.
I'm like,
we can always come back.
We can always come back, but I'm like, wow, I feel like proud in a way. I'm like, we've grown up, we've survived the Titanic.
We've done the main event.
We've done the main event. Wow. Okay.
I've been Carley.
I've been Blair.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.